Welcome to the 13th installment of Breaking Down. Today we look at remakes, the good, the bad, the ugly, and possibly some other surprises. Here is co-host and actor Doug Hutchison. Doug, how's it going today? How are you, my friend?
All right, Derek. I'm good. I'm ready. I'm poised. I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking. And I'm excited about this topic, movie remakes. I believe it was inspired, correct me if I'm wrong, but in our last show, we were talking, our theme was movies about loss and grief, surrender. And one of mine on the list was a movie called Pet Sematary, based on the Stephen King novel. And I really enjoyed the original version, and then found out they were making a 2019 version, which just came out, which I haven't seen. But I started lamenting about remakes and questioning the validity of remaking movies that were already made, impeccably. So why remake them? So I think that spurred this topic on. But I just wanted to preface this by saying that we called this remakes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But in my research, I actually surprised myself because I found that I actually started liking a lot of the remakes that I was digging up, the ones that I had seen. And so my list actually has more all smiley faces on it. So I guess my list is not the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's the good.
That's right.
Yeah. I have one ugly that I'm just going to mention at the very end, just for the heck of it. But anyway, I was wrong. I just got to say that. I'm going to confess it. I was wrong. I think there is validity in making certain remakes, and I have enjoyed, as you'll see, a handful of them.
So I know that many of yours have a smiley face by them, and I'm going to tell you mine are just the opposite. Mine have a frown by them.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you this after our off-air conversation about how I told you I was looking at the positives and the bright side of everything. I'm going to give you five thumbs down. So let's
great. Mine are 5 thumbs up. Yours are 5 thumbs down. Mine's the glasses half full. Yours is the glasses half empty.
All right. So let's start with the half full. What's your 5?
Okay, so in no sense of order whatsoever,
right.
By the way, of priority, one of the remakes I actually really enjoyed is Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. 2010. The original versions, of course, it was 1951. There was a version of Alice in Wonderland, and then there was a TV movie version in 1985. Tim Burton cast, as he often does, an amazing cast. Johnny Depp, he's always casting Depp. So Depp plays the Mad Hatter. Tim Burton's wife, who I've heard they're possibly getting a divorce, I think. I read this the other day, which is unfortunate, but it's life and a relationship, I suppose. Helena Bonham Carter. It plays the Queen of Hearts. Young actress by the name of Mia Wasikowska, an Australian actress, plays Alice. Crispin Glover plays the Knave of Hearts. And all I can say is, in a nutshell, Tim Burton. I mean, is this a filmmaking god or what?
I love him. I love him.
He's actually come down from the Mount filmmaking Olympus to give us his gifts, or he's made a pact with the devil, because everything this man touches, to me, turns into gold. And his vision, his special effects, his whole take on his movies are just unbelievably original and compelling. I love Tim Burton as you do, and so Alice in Wonderland, 2010, Tim Burton's version, I loved it.
Yep. Good call, man. Good call. And I got to tell you, I was doing a lot of research on the internet. I didn't see that anywhere, so you came from a good place for that. That's great. And for me, number 5, and like you said, good thing you said these are not in order, because this might have been number one for me. The Halloween remakes, specifically by Rob Zombie, who's the singer/director.
Right.
I hate his, like, there's people that absolutely are in love with his movies. I find him to be one of the, and I hate shitting on people. I hate it. It's not my style. Rob Zombie's Halloween movies are among some of the worst I've ever seen, but not just Halloween. He directed, oh shit, what are those other movies he directed? They're cult classics. God. I'll come up with it.
Yeah, I mean, one that I loved that he made, it wasn't a remake, but it's Devil's Rejects.
There it is. I'm not, you know what? A lot of people like that movie. I do not. I don't like Rob Zombie's style. He was on Howard Stern bragging about how quickly he shoots movies. And I'm like, no shit, it shows. Like, it's like, yeah. Yeah, this looks like something you shot overnight. Like, it's, and I should be more friendly towards a Massachusetts-born director. I don't know, House of a Thousand Corpses, Grindhouse, The Devil's Rejects. I am not a fan of Rob's, especially the Halloween. It's just, he's not as cute as he thinks he is. He's not as creative as he thinks he is. The movies look like they've been shot quickly. I just find them highly unappealing. I got to tell you, though, I've had 2 interviews, one with another podcast host who absolutely loved them. He goes, shame on you for saying that. And then I had one with a director who directed, I'm not going to mention what he directed, but he directed one of my favorite horror movies. And I said, I got to tell you, I love this, but I compare this to something like Rob Zombie's Halloween. And I said, I'm not really a fan. He goes, Rob's a friend. I'm like, oh, sorry. Okay, I should have said that. But I'm just not a fan of Rob Zombie's Halloween. And that doesn't even take into account how awesome the original Halloween movies are. Even the last one that came out this past year with what's her name? Who plays the lead in the Halloween movies, Doug? My brain is out to lunch today.
Honestly, I don't know.
Jamie Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah.
Of course.
So
the
that was
the original.
Yeah, and that wasn't directed by the latest one, which she was in it. It wasn't directed by her. It was okay, but completely unnecessary. Leave the ones that came out, the originals, alone. They're fine. Even the 1, 2, and 3, I love them. But yeah, that's Halloween's on my list. Should never have been touched again. And you and I have talked about the Halloween mask, ironically, and whose face that is. And I hope you've done I hope you believe me now. It's William Shatner's face.
I did not do any research on it because I think maybe you just slipped yourself a little bit of acid or, I don't know, some kind of drug or something, because that's just crazy.
So I will.
I do not. Because see, if I think about that and then I watch Halloween again, what am I going to be thinking? You ruined it for me.
Warp Drive, Sulu. All right. So what's your? I'm not going to continue my hate speech, but I think people get a point.
Okay.
I'm not a fan.
I kind of get that you're really not a big fan of Rob Zombie.
Not at all. His music isn't bad, but his directing, speaking as like from a fan and a director's point of view, I don't get him. I don't understand why people like it, but that's me.
He did our theme song for Punisher Warzone.
That's right.
Rob Zombie Warzone.
That's right.
It's a killer song.
But I like his music. I prefaced it. I do like his music.
Just not his movies.
That's right.
Gotcha. All right. Okay. Well, fair enough. My number 4 is It.
Oh, good one.
2017.
Yeah.
The original version, of course, 1990 TV miniseries. This new one, 2017, directed by Andy Muschietti. I think you pronounced his name that way. Mm-hmm. He directed another one of my favorite movies called Mama. I love that movie.
Yep.
The cast of kids, amazing.
Yep.
What can I say? All of them. Amazing, 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 underline, underscore, highlight, amazing. Pennywise, scary as shit. Bill Skarsgård plays Pennywise. Tim Curry played Pennywise in the old version, and I thought he did a great job. But, man, when you see the remake, this guy's Pennywise, and the way it's directed, it just scares the bejesus out of you. there's so many standout scenes, but my favorite in the new one is the bloody bathroom scene with the young girl.
Yes.
She's looking down the sink, and Pennywise is down there, and she sticks a yardstick down there or something, and then something grabs it. She pulls it up, and it's all full of red guck, and then all of a sudden the sink explodes with blood, and blood just this gore and blood just saturates the bathroom and her and everything. It's like a scene out of Carrie, and the girl's just terrified, just shuddering up against the bathtub after the episode's over. She's covered in blood. The bathroom's covered in blood. Her dad walks in, or her stepdad. I can't remember if it's her biological or stepdad, but he walks in, and he doesn't see it. He doesn't see the blood and the gore.
Right.
Only she can see it. And then she invites her friends over, and they can see it. It's like they have this collective shining that they can see what's going on that other people can't, and they help her clean up the bathroom and the blood. I don't know, that one just stood out in my head. There's so many others, but yeah, this guy did such an amazing job with it, and I understand they're coming out again with a sequel to it, and I'm looking forward to that as well.
Have you seen the trailer, Doug, for the second one? It's scary as absolute hell.
No, I haven't. I'll have to check it out after we get off this podcast today.
Yeah, that's a great call, Ed. I never even thought of it. I mean, awesome call. I probably would have rated that one if I was to make a list, if I had to redo it again. That's an awesome call. I love that movie. I love the friendship the kids have with each other. It's a little bit of a Stand By Me meets gore. You know, it's like it's just a great, just a beautiful way of. I love the way these kids always kind of hang together against this force of just pure evil.
You know, and that they're all sort of rejects in a way. Yes. In real life. You know, they're a band of kids who are bullied, and I love that take, and I love that Muschietti didn't use the cheesy rubber giant spider at the end of the movie like the original TV miniseries did. Yes.
And I love, I just love the rapport they have. The movie isn't always trying to scare the shit out of you. There are human moments. There are good moments. Mm-hmm. I think I've rewatched the for me, it's funny, but it's also scary as hell. Is when right off the bat, the beginning, first 5 minutes of the movie, when the boy loses his boat down the drain, and he first sees Pennywise. He's like, and Pennywise is talking about how he got there. You know, the circus came to town and blew me away. Like he is so like, and then there's a point where he just turns, and his eyes, you see it, and it's like, holy shit, we are in for a ride. Yeah, man, great call.
That sequence you're talking about, it just sets up the whole movie. You just know from that point on, OMG, I am in for it. This is like, he's not going to pull punches in this movie. Yeah. And he doesn't. It's really, it's fairly brilliant.
Yeah, great call, man. Good call on that one. My next one is a movie that is really underrated as well. We could have even put this in our underrated edition. It is Judge Dredd. Sylvester Stallone came out with one in 95 that was not very good. And then in 2012, they came out with another one that was absolutely fantastic. Cinematography, it's with Carl Urban. It's one of the best remakes I think I've ever seen. When I first went to go, I remember seeing that at the theater. I remember being just so blown away, whereas Stallone's was kind of comical and kind of like very 90s-ish. This is very, I don't want to say, it is gory, it's violent, but it's very real. I absolutely loved it. It is Judge Dredd from 2012.
Who plays the Stallone character?
Carl Urban. Carl Urban.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think you would love it a lot. And one of the lead evil or bad guys, quote unquote, is played by Lena Headey, who plays Cersei in Game of Thrones. But yeah, if anybody hasn't seen the 2012 Judge Dredd, It is a great movie, big time upgrade. Whereas, in attendance, that in the 90s, and even the 80s too, they had a tendency of just being very hokey and just like It, right? That It movie was very hokey. The first one, it was, people love it. I didn't love it. I mean, I was okay, but the new one was fantastic. I feel very similarly about Judge Dredd.
Yeah, wow, good call. I would have never thought of that. That's a really obscure kind of, because I don't even remember that coming out in the theater or anything. But
yeah,
now I'm intrigued. Obviously,
it's got like 250,000 votes, and it's over. It's like 7-2, but it deserves to be higher. But
wow,
yeah, I love it.
Very cool.
Yep.
All right. My number 3 is surprise. Do you see a little pattern starting here? Another Tim Burton movie. I think Tim Burton can do remakes of anything he feels like it. I give him carte blanche to just come on, Tim. Make a remake of everything before you die, before you leave this planet. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yep.
2005, loved it. I loved the original version in 1971 with Gene Wilder playing Willy Wonka. Who would have ever thought that anyone could top that, because it's such an iconic movie, and Wilder is awesome in it as Willy Wonka. But Tim Burton succeeds. Again, casting his faves. Johnny Depp plays Willy Wonka. Helena Bonham Carter, Tim Burton's wife, and a wonderful actress, by the way, plays Mrs. Bucket. I love the way Johnny Depp plays this character. It's so twisted. His smile, his fake teeth, it almost reminded me of like this kind of uber version of Michael Jackson or something with kids, like it's fun, but it's creepy at the same time kind of thing. And Depp plays it off so well. I know Johnny Depp's going through some stuff right now, and in his personal life, I have no idea. I've never met him. I don't know, but I love Johnny Depp. I just love him. I love just about anything he does. And in this one, since Burton had the advantage of all of the newfangled special effects, then we get all this fun stuff that the 1970 version couldn't possibly pull off, like the Oompa Loompas and that wonderful blueberry scene where the little girl's chewing gum and starts turning blue, and then all of a sudden she starts inflating, and she inflates into this giant, like 600-pound balloon. Just stuff like that he had to play with. And again, Tim Burton, I bow down. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, 2005, a very worthy remake of the original.
That's interesting, because I would think a lot of people would have been so much in love with the original because it's such a classic, right? And I love that your take on it was, Burton, and you and I probably feel the same about Burton. He doesn't mess up very much. So it's been a while. I think I've seen the movie once, and it was a long time ago, the newer one. But yeah, I mean, that's a good take, because I swear I thought you were going to go, until you told me about the smiley face, I thought you were going to go the other way with that. I thought you were going to say, I love the original more.
No, again, like Burton in a way, I don't think Depp, I don't know. I love that Johnny Depp crawls into his characters and just pulls out these unbelievable characters. I mean, this is a cat who came from 21 Jump Street, the TV show, like back in the day, and over the course of the decades has become this huge character actor, a character leading actor, I should say, because he could easily have fallen back on I'm cool, I'm Johnny Depp. And what does he do? He does Edward Scissorhands. He does Ed Wood. he does, these amazing, crazy characters with Tim Burton, and there's a part of me that really respects his choices, and then I always love, for the most part, I enjoy the outcomes.
Johnny Depp is one of my favorite actors. He's so good. He is ridiculous. Yeah, I totally agree. My next one, what is it? 3? My third one, right? Yeah. I think you're going to agree with this one. I know you're going to agree with it. This movie's been done many times, but the best time, and it's not even close, is the 1970 Scrooge with our boy Albert Finney.
Of course.
Yep, and there's no way that this movie will ever get better than what Albert Finney put forth. You could even throw in Bill Murray's Scrooge. You throw any Scrooge movie you want. It has never, ever, or any Christmas Carol movie you want. It has never been done better than by Albert Finney in 1970. It's a bit of a musical, but I mean, I hate musicals, but this is a phenomenal musical. The music stays in your head. And what a sad state of events that I'm looking at IMDb right as we speak. 1, his death. But 2, that this movie only has 8,000 votes. It's got a 7.5. It's like people just completely missed the boat on this movie. Maybe it's because it's older and it's only available in certain places. I don't know. But this is a great cast. Albert Finney steals the show. It is the most wonderful Scrooge movie ever made.
I could not agree with you more, my friend. It is one of my favorites. I never miss watching it. Every time around Christmas time, and you're right. He became the quintessential Ebenezer Scrooge, and I love the music. The music rocks. I mean, it doesn't rock. It's not rock and roll, but what I mean is it's beautifully scored. It's really touching too. When he's looking back at himself as a young man who could have been married to that beautiful, sweet woman and turned his back on her for profit and money and business, and he sees the mistakes of his life, as he's taken down the path by the ghosts. It touches me every time. It makes me laugh, makes me feel so good, in my heart at the end. And yes, I'm with you. I'm surprised it's not on my list, but it's not, but it should be.
Yeah, and one of the quotes I use all the time is I always talk about, if you come back with a turkey in less than 5 minutes, I'll give you half a crown. Like, I'm always like quoting the movie in the cheesiest of ways, And you believe what Albert Finney is going through, right? When he's like arrogantly just bitter, and then he starts to look at his life. He's sitting up there with I think it's the bigger ghost. Is that the Christmas Past one where he's looking? That's the one. Is that the one, Doug?
No, I think is that the ghost of Chris? Yeah, it's the ghost. Yes, it's the ghost of Christmas Present. I think, because doesn't that ghost give him the goblet of giddy liquid that he drinks, and then they go to his uncle's party that they're having.
Yes, and they're dancing, and Scrooge is a young guy dancing.
Okay, then maybe it was the past. Who's the female ghost then? Is she the ghost of Christmas Present?
I think she's present. Yes, I think she's present.
I think you're right. You're right. The big bearded guy goes to Christmas Past, and then I think the woman takes him to see Bob Cratchit.
No, I'm looking, Doug. You called it, Doug. You called it.
I did?
Yes, because he goes.
Okay.
Because there's a great scene where he goes, "Here, Scrooge, I've brought you home," and Scrooge goes, "You're not going." He goes, "My time upon this little planet is very brief. I must leave you now." And then Scrooge says, "But we still have so much to talk about." And he comes out with this quote, "The Ghost of Christmas Present," the big guy. He's my favorite one of them all. And this is one of the best quotes you'll ever hear in a movie. He says, "There's never enough time to do or say all the things we would wish. The thing is to try to do as much as you can in the time that you have."
Yes.
And then Scrooge goes, "Yes, but..." And then the ghost comes back with, "Remember, Scrooge, time is short, and suddenly you're not there anymore." How fucking great is that, Doug? How great?
Oh man, it's giving me chills. As you recite it. Yeah. I guess what my intuition was right about it, because
yes, sir, you called it.
Because now I do remember the Ghost of Christmas Past, the woman saying, asking him, and I'm paraphrasing, but why did you turn your back on her? What made you choose this over? So she was speaking to him as a youth. And
the music, the music is so. The music puts you in tears. Like when Scrooge is hurting, you're hurting for him. When he's in jubilation and he says, "You know what? Screw this. Life is short. I'm gonna go for it." It's a beautiful movie, and it should be. Yeah. This should be as much of a classic. To me, I'm sorry. Like, people are gonna say, "Oh yeah, whatever, dude." This is better than A Wonderful Life, in my opinion. People are gonna say that's a little bit crazy. This is a great. I don't know.
I would, I'd have to say it's up there with It's a Wonderful Life. Yep. They're two very different movies, but I agree with you. And the thing is, with Finney, because he's such an amazing actor, he allows himself the arc of this character the way Dickens, I think, meant it to be, because he starts off just crotchety, old, stooped over. Life is just hell, and people are hell, and then at the end he's just dancing with joy, and you can feel his jubilation, and you can feel his giddiness at the end, and how wonderful it is to be alive, and oh my God, I'm still here, I can make a difference, and what a message, what a beautiful.
Doug, how's this though?
Journey.
We're clearly on the same page, but how is this? Can you imagine if Tim Burton remade this in 2019, how dark he could go and how great it would be? This would be a perfect Burton movie, I think.
I say go for it, Tim.
Yep.
I don't know if you can top Albert Finney.
Nope, but he's not a stranger to remakes, and he does a phenomenal job with them. So he's the guy for the job if they ever go that road.
If they ever make another one, absolutely.
All right.
And think what he could do too with the ghosts and everything. The effects in the Albert Finney Scrooge are actually pretty good for the time that it came out.
For 1970, yes.
Yeah, some of them are a little cheesy, when he falls into hell and stuff like that. But but primarily, they did a really good job of the effects. But imagine what Tim Burton could do with those effects now.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
All right, so we are off to you for two?
Two, yeah.
We're cruising here.
My number 2 is True Grit.
Oh, good one. Good call.
Yeah, it came out in 2010. The original version, of course, with John Wayne in the lead as Rooster Cogburn. 1969. Glenn Campbell was in that movie as well. Great movie. But the remake, the Coen brothers, Ethan and Joel Coen, they did it again with True Grit. I love this movie. And one of my absolute favorite all-time actors, Jeff Bridges, plays the John Wayne role of Rooster Cogburn. Absolute perfect casting. Perfect A1 casting. I love Jeff Bridges. I love Jeff Bridges as much as I love Johnny Depp and as much as I love Tim Burton. Jeff Bridges is just the man. And a great cast. Matt Damon, Josh Brolin. Barry Pepper has a small cameo sort of role in it as this character called Lucky Ned Pepper. Yep. But he does. When I watched it, I was so envious of Barry when I saw him get this opportunity because what a great role. Yes. And I got to give him props. He really he knocked it out of the ballpark because he really went underneath. And I've never really seen Barry do that before. I've always seen Barry as this, very good looking, young, coiffed man playing one of the Kennedys. And, even in The Green Mile, he's sort of playing the nice, simple, sensitive guard, and here he plays this gritty, homeless, whatever.
The guy's a dirtbag. He's a dirtbag, right? He's like a dirtbag, right?
Dirtbag. Yeah. I didn't even recognize him at first. So I got to give it up to Pepper for that. And anyway, I loved the remake. It just it carried me along. I loved the relationship between Bridges and the little girl, the young girl who's hired him to.
She's awesome too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, that's my another smiley face remake is True Grit 2010.
Yeah, good call, man. That's a great call. I'm gonna tell you, funny you bring up Barry Pepper because he's phenomenal in this. But he's the one. It's his moment, and I'm not gonna. We talk about the Green Mile all the time, but it's his moment in the Green Mile when you look at him and there's tears running down his face. Oh my God! It's like it's at that moment, and you talk about acting without having to say a word. His face just screams, "What the fuck are we doing?" And you're right, and he doesn't play it safe here. He kind of goes for that. Yeah, good call on him. Love Jeff Bridges. I think I might have asked you this 1,000 times, but I forget because I talk movies so much. Have you seen Hell or High Water?
Yes, yeah, I watched it. I think after you recommended it, I watched it, but I loved it.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of Jeff Bridges is so good in that. It's just,
oh man,
it's like you're right. Another home run. You talk about Coen Brothers have done a few remakes, and they write so well that it's just it's amazing. It's
yeah, I really love their stuff.
Yeah, great call, man. One of the ones, and if we're at one, where are we at now? One?
You're at two.
I'm at two, then one. Yes. I'm losing my place here.
Okay.
I gotta say, it's the Bad News Bears. The original came out in 76, and I love 1 and 2. Have you seen the Bad News Bears movies, Doug?
I didn't. I've never seen the remakes. I saw the originals.
Yeah, the originals are absolutely phenomenal, right? You have kids that say words that you could never these are PG movies that I can't repeat it here because Tanner says some of the most race. He talks about he talks about the demographics of his team, right? And he talks about the potential sexuality of some of his teammates. He uses racial slurs to describe. I mean, that was the 70s, right? It's
right. And you could get away with that stuff without the PC police.
Yeah, well, I can tell you. With a ton of he says he goes. All I see in my team are a bunch of all the things I just said. He goes, in a booger, spaz eating moron or something. It's like there's such a genuine when I grew up, these kids got me through my childhood, was as far as movies. I love it. I watch it ritually. Whenever I'm on the treadmill or looking for something to laugh at. The original, Walter Matthau with these kids, giving them there's a moment in this movie where Walter Matthau catches himself being, trying to win too much, right? Because he's trying to shove it down everybody's throat who disrespected these kids. He yells at them. He goes, "Don't you just want to shove it, up their ass and make them pay for what?" I'm paraphrasing here, but make them pay for what they did to you. And he catches himself and he's like, "No, fuck this. No, this is not who I am." And he starts to play kids off the bench. He gives them the opportunity. And at the end of the game, they lose. And he goes into his cooler. He gives all the kids Budweisers. I don't know. There's something about this movie that I've had some of the cast on. I've had the director of the second one on. I have never lost my love for this movie. It's grown fonder as I get older. And there's such a beauty in it, and the way it ends was they meet at home plate, the two teams, the Yankees and the lovable Bears, right, who really improved. And the Yankees, the snobby kid goes, we still don't think you're all that good a team, but we appreciate your spirit or something like that. And then Tanner looks at him and goes, "Hey, Yankees, basically take your trophy and shove it straight up your ass." It's just, it's just such a beautiful. There's a huge scene there, and not many people talk about this because people see what I just mentioned. But there's a scene where the other coach on the other team, and I think Matthau sees it here too, where he sees the coach come up to his son, who's the pitcher on the other team, and he slaps him in the face. And it's like, whoa. And then the mother comes on, and so the kid stays in the game after getting slapped. and he gives up a home run and stops playing so the Bears get a home run. And the mother goes up, takes him off the field, and walks him off the field. And then there's another moment of, aren't we taking sports a little bit too seriously here? There's deep meanings in this movie. There's meanings in this movie that are make you laugh on the surface. I absolutely adore this movie. And in 2005, for whatever reason they've decided, and the guy who was leading this cast is maybe one of our best actors in Billy Bob Thornton. They remade this movie, and I will be very honest with you, I watched 5 minutes of it. I almost threw up on my television set, and I've never watched it again. I was like, what are you doing here? I go, this makes me more upset than Rob Zombie's attempt at directing. I was like, I'm like, this is disgusting. Like, this has been done before, and unlike other movies that we're talking about that maybe could be done over again and really well, not because other movies are not done well, but holy shit, Doug. The remake here is disgusting. It's awful. It's trying to be PC beyond belief. It's everything the first movie was against, right? It wasn't PC. It wasn't, and that's what made it great. This movie, the kids and their abilities and their backgrounds, they're trying to do everything the other movie was not about, and it lost its luster. It's just not good. To me, it wasn't good. It's actually, honestly, if we were ranking, this would probably beat Halloween for the worst remake in history. And shame on them for trying to touch that those sacred first two Bad News Bears movies.
Well, good call, then. I'm glad you brought that up because you saved me from watching Billy Bob Thornton and crew destroy a gem, or attempt to destroy a gem, I should say.
And he's so good. Not in this movie, but as an actor, he is like Sling Blade. He's amazing. Like,
yeah,
for him to sign on to this pile of shit makes me wonder if he read the script before he accepted the role. I don't know. I was. Yeah,
they might have offered him a buttload of money. You never know.
That's true. No, that's true. And I can't. It happens.
Yeah. These cats will take the bank.
Yep.
Regardless, Malkovich does that a lot. I've got a lot of respect for John Malkovich, but I've noticed sometimes he just skates through, some of the worst pieces of crap just because they're paying him $1 gajillion to do it. He doesn't care.
Nope.
He's laughing all the way to the bank on some of them.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're up, man, for your number one.
Good call. Okay, number one. Now remember, this is not in order of like I liked this the best or anything, and I'm probably going to get some crap for this, maybe from you, but probably from some who are listening, because this movie, when it came out, I believe it really did get mixed reviews. Either people really loved it or people really hated it. I happen to be on the latter side. I mean, on the former side. I loved it. It is the remake of Romeo and Juliet in 1996.
Is that with Leo?
That's with Leo.
Okay.
As Romeo, Claire Danes plays Juliet. Amazing cast. John Leguizamo plays Tybalt. Paul Sorvino plays Capulet. Brian Dennehy, Montag. Emmett Walsh is in it as the apothecary. And the original I remember seeing the original version as a kid. It came out in 1968, so I was 8 years old. And the only reason I think it really made an impact on me is because my parents used to take my younger brother Eric, 3 years younger than me, to the drive-in screen to see movies because it would save them on babysitters and stuff. So we'd go in our PJs, our footy PJs, and bring popcorn and snacks, and we'd get to play on the playground that they had in front of the screen at twilight before the movies actually started. We'd bring our pillows and blankets, and then halfway through the movie, our tummies full of popcorn and licorice and crap and soda, we would just fall asleep while our parents got to enjoy the rest of the movie. And then I always remembered, the tail end of the evening being carried in my father's arms from the car, all sacked out, carried into the house and dropped into bed. being given a kiss on the forehead. But anyway, that's how I remember the original version, directed by Franco Zeffirelli in 1968, and I loved it. And I ended up seeing it again, obviously, in my adult years, but that was the first time. 8 years old watching it, and I was so in love with the actress playing Juliet. Her name was Olivia. I think it's pronounced. It's either Hussey or Hussey. It's Hussey. But I just remember being so in love with her. But what I really loved about the remake, directed by Baz Luhrmann, I think that's how you pronounce it, Baz or Baz, B-A-Z. Is it just took a chance, and this doesn't always work with Shakespeare. People have tried this 1,000 times on stage, and most of the time they attempt it. It's just like, what are you doing? You know? But what they did with the movie is they updated it to a hip, sort of modern suburban setting. So it's contemporary, you know, with guns and gangs and stuff like that, but they kept the original Shakespearean dialogue. So they merged the two, and I just really loved that concept, and I enjoyed the ride, and I just thought some of the performances were gangbuster. I love the story, obviously, it's a classic, and I thought Leguizamo as Tybalt was probably the standout in the cast in a particular scene that he has in the movie, a fight scene where I believe it's his death scene, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, that's one of my thumbs up remakes is Romeo and Juliet, 1996.
No, I like that movie. It's got a cool look to it. It's got a cool feel to it, right? It's not like, for those that haven't seen it, it's Romeo and Juliet taking place in modern day, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not like, you know, this isn't a movie that's shot in, you know, modern times that's, you know, based on something that happened, 500 to 1,000 years ago. This is something that is legitimately like modern day, and it's just so good. I totally agree with you.
But what sets it apart for me is that they
the dialogue.
Yeah, they don't deviate from Shakespeare's dialogue.
No, I agree. Yes.
So it is in a modern setting, but they're speaking classical dialogue, it's really kind of fun. It's really cool.
That's it's a major point. I should not have left it out. You're right. It's modern day, but it's also the dialogue that they would have used when Shakespeare originally wrote it. Yes. So that's what makes it really kind of like, because you'll never see anything like that again, right?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, they've attempted it. I've seen productions like plays that have attempted to contemporize Shakespeare, all of his stuff, Hamlet, everything, and it rarely, if ever, works. I was actually in a production of Julius Caesar in Los Angeles when I first moved there at the Mark Taper Forum. It's a pretty nice theater. It's a Lord A theater. They do some really good stuff there, but they did this production of Julius Caesar, and they updated it so that it's taking place in the 1960s, and so it was a whole Kennedy-esque kind of take on it. Because obviously John F. Kennedy gets assassinated. Obviously, Caesar gets assassinated. And so we're wearing suits and ties, and we're doing the whole 60s update of Julius Caesar. And it just didn't work. It didn't, it was silly. So I was really pleased and surprised when I saw this contemporary version of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, that's a really, I never would have thought of that movie, and it's a really creative movie that really, if people haven't seen it, it's worth every minute of watching it, because I haven't seen it recently, but I definitely have seen it, and they're both fantastic in it. So my one is... All right,
you're number one.
Yeah. So my one is a movie that, it got really poorly reviewed, but I love it. It's so funny. It's just so original. Tom Hanks is so good in this movie. It's so crazy and insane and over the top. I absolutely love it. It's Lady Killers. It came out in 2004. It's also a Coen Brothers remake.
Wow, I didn't see this.
Yes.
How did I miss this?
No, yeah, it's so good. Tom Hanks plays this sleazy Southern guy, but he's so funny in it. And they're trying to orchestrate a robbery of a casino. And it's maybe one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. He plays an absolute dirtbag. He's got these things around his teeth. It is so good. It is so good. Yeah,
I gotta check it out.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. I think people would find it. My girlfriend and I, we when it's on, we always watch it. We laugh our asses off. It's so insane. It's so crazy, but it works so well. And I really think people miss the boat on this as far as the reviews and what it's really worth. So that is my number one.
I'll put that on my to-watch list because I don't know how that slipped by me, but I'd love to see Tom Hanks play a sleazebag.
Oh, I think you would love it.
That's always been one of my, as much as I adore Tom Hanks, as you know, that's been one of my main criticisms about him, I guess, is that I rarely, if ever, see him take chances. You know, he's always playing Tom in a different outfit. I mean, he brings it. He always brings the performance. It's lovely. But I love, when he played Forrest Gump.
Yes.
Like that's what I'm talking about. I want to see that Tom Hanks. I want to see that Tom Hanks stepping out and taking chances, not just, just seeing. And it's hard for him, I know, because he's Tom Hanks. He's so recognizable. But, if he's got the goods, he can definitely pull it out, pull out those characters and do something. And he may as well.
Yeah.
He's got enough money. He's done enough movies. He may as well, before he takes off this planet, do whatever the heck he wants. Even if it completely soars and fails, he would be taking chances and playing. I'd love to see him play just get all like a homeless sort of, just like Barry Pepper in
yes,
in True Grit. I want to see Tom Hanks do stuff like that.
Yeah, and the guy's like a sleazebag, but he's comically sleazy. It's just, I think you like it a lot if you ever. But your list of what I've recommended to you to watch is probably at this point at what, like 100? Like 100?
No, I think I've got like 3 on there right now because I've been watching the ones that you've recommended and enjoying them, as you know, when we talk off air. But I have not seen what is it? We Bought a Zoo.
Yeah, We Bought a Zoo, and then Afterlife. But yeah.
Yeah, you want me to watch Afterlife? That's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, I think you'd appreciate that. And I was watching. Before my dad passed, we were watching that show with Michael Douglas that you had recommended.
The Kaczynski.
Yeah, I gotta go back and rewatch it again. Yeah, we loved it. We were watching it.
Kaczynski Method. Yeah.
All right.
It's fun. No, I just finished on Netflix Schitt's Creek, which is just absolutely hilarious. Eugene Levy, and I just finished 13 Reasons Why. Which is a very compelling series, 2 seasons of that. And then, I don't know, my mother recommended a series called Quicksand that I might watch next. And then I'll give your Afterlife a shot after that.
Yeah.
That's on my Netflix list. But
so what is your wild card? So let's be clear on the wild card so people know here. Wild card is a movie that should be remade. Is that what we said?
Yeah, that we'd like to see remade.
Yep.
And yeah, that has the potential to be remade in a good way.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I'm just gonna very quickly, since all of mine were smiley faces, I just have to say just give one big bad boo to the Psycho remake.
Oh.
In 1998.
Yes.
I don't know what Gus Van Sant was thinking, but he was on drugs.
Yeah.
And Vince Vaughn.
Yes.
As Norman Bates. And then Gus Van Sant decides to shoot it. And every single scene is shot exactly the way Hitchcock shot it.
Yeah.
Back in 1960. Why? What's up with that?
Yes.
I mean, if you're gonna try to take on this monster, try to take on Hitchcock, try to take on Anthony Perkins as the quintessential Norman Bates, and put Vince Vaughn in that role. And I like Vince Vaughn, by the way. I think I like his comedy mostly, but come on. And then not only to add insult to injury, to add salt to the wounds, you're not even going to give us your version. You think it's innovative to go in there and shoot every single scene exactly the way Hitchcock shot every single scene.
Yes.
Why would I pay money to go see this movie?
Yeah, not a good remake. Not a good remake.
Yeah. So anyway, I couldn't resist. I had to throw that in as it's the only one on my list with a big fat frowny face.
Well, I have to give, because I'm glad you went down this road for a little bit, because I have three that I if the list was 10 would easily have been on there, but I'm not going to go elaborate. I'm just going to say them. Point Break. Awful remake.
Yeah.
Karate Kid.
Was that Keanu Reeves?
Yes. Yeah. Keanu Reeves one was fantastic. The one that just came out like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, the remake of the Keanu Reeves.
Karate Kid with the one with Ralph Macchio, A+.
Right.
The one with Will Smith's son, F+. And maybe what is one of the worst remakes in history, like. And ironically, it's about somebody that has, drinks a lot of alcohol, because I feel like you have to have a lot of alcohol to even get through this movie. And that is the Arthur remake. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
Who's that English guy?
That English actor guy who's playing the Dudley Moore character. Who is that actor?
I'm going to find it.
He's a comedian who turned actor.
Russell something.
Yes. Russell. I don't know. But I agree with you.
Is it Russell Brand? Is that his name?
Yes. Russell Brand.
But yeah.
Bingo. You're right.
Yeah. So I had to get those.
A+ Dudley Moore, F+ Russell Brand.
And I also wanted to throw this out there. There's one movie that should never ever be touched, and that is The Wizard of Oz.
All right. Well, interesting that you brought that one up, because that is my wild card.
Wow.
Now, it is on my wild card only as a big fat question mark.
Right.
Because I could have sworn, unless I was doing drugs at the time, that I heard through the grapevine not too long ago, actually, that our man Tim Burton was going to do the remake of The Wizard of Oz. And I remember thinking when I heard this that, okay, wow, that's ambitious. But again, if anybody can do it, Tim Burton can do it.
Right.
So I was waiting with bated breath. I was anticipating this coming out and to see what he was going to do with this. But then when I went to do research on it, and I went to his IMDb and everything, nothing. The only thing that came up was he attempted to do a TV series, I think called Land of Oz or something like that. I can't remember the title.
Yeah.
And it didn't fly. It just, I think it went a few episodes and then they yanked it or something. And maybe that's what they were talking about, and I misinterpreted it. But I could have sworn they were saying in 2020, be prepared for Tim Burton's remake of The Wizard of Oz. And so I'm just going to, whether I was on drugs or delusional or not, or maybe I dreamt it, I don't remember. But I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say one of the most iconic, classic, best movies ever made, ever. The only way it could be remade and potentially outrageously remade is Tim Burton at the helm.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, it's like what we were saying before, and you know, I just think it's such a tough thing to do, Doug, because like you're right, he's the guy to do it. And I got to tell you, they remade Mary Poppins, so it's like they're not afraid to go after classics. So
right,
yeah, I mean, you got.
I think in anybody else's hands, no, don't even go there.
Well, it was technically The Wizard of Oz was remade. It was called The Wiz in 1978 with Diana Ross. Do you remember that? Michael Jackson. And Nipsey Russell
as the Scarecrow. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but yeah. I don't know. I think I would agree with. I mean, I think in the right hands, but that's got to be. I mean, you would have an uproar of people like, "What are you doing?" Like, I can't even imagine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But like you said, it's got to be a Burton thing or somebody that's on his level, which there aren't many. So
no, I can't think of any other director who could pull it off. Even the top-notch directors who I absolutely admire, the only one I can think of is Burton. And even then, like you said, it would be very ambitious. But see, again, just like I said about Tom Hanks, what does Tim Burton have to lose? Seriously,
right?
Like, even if it just was an absolute flop, is his career going to end? I kind of doubt it. You know, it just he has the means, he has the talent, and the vision to pull something like that off that nobody else, I think, standing on this planet could ever, dream of attempting to do.
So with mine,
what's your wild card?
Yeah, I know you get mad when I have ties, so I'm not going to have a tie. I'm going to tell you my clear one. But there's one movie that needs a All right, from now on, breaking down, when we get to the wild card section, mine's going to be called Wild Card. All right, I'm just saying.
And yours is going to be called Double Wild Card.
No, I'm not saying the second one. I'm just going to say this one. I would love to see a remake of Children of the Corn. I love the original one, but I think if they decided there's a bunch of people that could do this too, just to make it up to date and maybe harness some of the acting, because the older one, the original one wasn't horrible. But if they just wanted to go all out and make I'm not talking a half-ass effort, because they've done that with some of these movies in the past. AKA, the Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers. But I mean, just really put your time into it, just like very much like It, like they've done with It and some other things. But yeah, good call. I wouldn't have ever thought of that, but you're right. It could be another It remake. Right, but it just
if it was done well,
it doesn't age that well, and the acting is not great, but the premise is phenomenal. Like, their kids are running, So I think it's one of those things that could work really well, and that is episode 13 of Breaking Down. And Doug, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Derek. Look forward to the next one. Bye, everybody.